Okay, it looks like I'm on here, and today I will be showing you how to work with web deployment using SetupBuilder version 10. Now, I am on my iPad, so I can actually see what I'm doing, but I've got the actual computer right in front of me. Unfortunately, I do not have decent screen recording software on the computer today because this is my little crap PC. So what we're going to do is I already have an installation project already set up here that's going to be ready to add web deployment. And this is just to do the web-based installation. As you can see on this screen, I can do web-based update with it, but unfortunately, until I am more comfortable with that process, I will not be showing that particular procedure. But if you do wish to save space on your installation media for your end customers, web deployment is the way to go. And so what we're going to do here is we are going to, first of all, let me get to where I can see both of my screens here, and then there goes my iPhone. Thankfully that's in an OtterBox case there, folks. But we're going to get it to where I can see both of my computer screens. Get the headphones off my head. Yes, I'm going to leave all these goofs in because I don't have proper video editing hardware, or video editing software, excuse me, to be able to do this with. And yes, I can control the desktop from the tablet. But I just want to get this set up where I can actually see it. Okay, awesome. So what I want to do is go back to SetupBuilder, and right here, this little thing that says Enable Web Deployment, and this is found in the Web Deployment Visualizer. Now, I'm going to go over to my desktop so I can actually control it from the computer. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a check mark in this, like such. Put a check mark in there, then click on Details. For anyone who's seen my SetupBuilder tutorial series prior, you should know that these dialogues are kind of familiar looking. And what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in. Okay, let's switch the color filters off, guys. Oh, there we go. And the host address. This is going to be your web server. I'm going to go ahead and use today xds-help.tk. Port 80. Now, if you were using SSL encryption, you'd want to switch this port around to, I believe, 443, but do not quote me on this. Host directory. If you do not fill this in, this host directory box right here, if you do not fill this in, the active installer, the web-based installer, is going to assume that all of the files that this is going to generate are going to be in the root of your website, which in this case will be xds-help.tk. You do not, in this host address, want to place HTTP or HTTPS, as those protocol declarations will automatically be where they're supposed to be when you run this. So we're going to say that our host directory is going to be SBUILDER/wupdate. If your web server is using htaccess, you'd fill in the username and password as appropriate in these two boxes. If you are also using the web update process, you would also want to fill in where it says use web update login. And if you are on an IIS server, you'd want to make sure that these two boxes are checked. If you're using SSL, there's a checkbox for it right there. If you wish to have the no cache option, that way if you anticipate a high volume of these things coming in, there won't be as much of a demand on your web server. And if you wish to use a single file image. So we're just going to go ahead and leave all of this the way it is and hit OK. Now, I've already gone in with this project and defined the following: general project information, compile, and I've also gone in and defined my features and my setup types and my files and folders. This has all been predefined, ready to go. And all I needed to do was just go in under web deployment. Oops. And select this. Once I've done that, I can click on compile. Yes, I want to save. And this is going to go ahead and compile. I'm going to give this just a minute to get its head on straight. And it's done. So our next step would be to go to our web server, which I'm going to go ahead and launch Firefox for that. Boom. Go to our web server. I'm surprised I got that right on the first try. And as you can see, I've got a lot of saved passwords here. Log in. Go to our file manager. And locate. Please forgive the noise in the background. And locate our public HTML folder. Now your installation may be a bit different. Your web server may be different. It may be a different folder. I'm using cPanel here on this server. So it's going to be my username, public HTML. And I'm going to want to find, there we go, SBuilder, wupdate. Now, as you can see, I've done this before with just a demo project that I was just using to kind of get this understood and figured out. So I'm going to select all this and get rid of it. Okay, and you're going to want to upload, in my case, all of the files that are output when we did our compile, which, rather than me trying to go through my browser here and trying to find all this, I am going to just hit the open button right here. Boop, and there's everything. There's all of our, what SetupBuilder calls cluster files. And in here somewhere should be, see our setup. See if I see our setup file here at all. Okay, for whatever reason, here I do not see, oh, there we go, application. There's our setup file right there, so we do see our setup file. And basically what you'd want to do with these is you'd want to upload all of this and your setup file to your directory. What I'm going to do to make things a little bit easier on myself for this demo is I'm going to take this, I'm going to right click on it, use the WinRAR, add to archive, make it a zip file because that's something my web server can understand, test all the archive files just to make sure that we're good to go, make it best compression, and put it in a place where we can easily get to it, which in this case is going to be right on my desktop. Call it web.zip. Bingo. We're going to run this. Okay. That way we've got it all instead of having to do each of those cluster files one by one. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to back to our web server, choose to upload, browse, desktop, web.zip, and this is going to upload. Now, I am on a cellular data connection here, which means that it can be a bit slow at times, and I'm on limited data connectivity. And yes, I'm going to leave all my goofs in even at the start of the video because, well, why not? It gives us all something to laugh at. Okay, boom. There we go. Now, because we have this zipped up, there are a few more steps we need to do. So I'm going to OK this. I'm going to click on it, right click, extract, and just leave the default. Okay, bingo, bango. And we're going to refresh this directory to show that we do have a folder called web in there. Web, there it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all. Boom. Then I'm going to go ahead and move these things. Now I'm going to zoom in to make sure I can see what I'm doing. Okay. We're just going to take off that /web right there. I'm going to OK that. And then these are going to get on their way. I'm going to give this a quick refresh to see how it's done. Boom. And then going to go up a level. Okay, our files are there. Awesome. So now what becomes the fate of our actual setup now that we've done this? And that would be that if I were to trash or move all of these clusters, hopefully not get our actual application, because there are a lot of these. Let me do this. Let me just go one step further and make everybody's life a little bit easier. gonna go by type, find just application, and I'm gonna move that somewhere, and that'll give me enough chance to get rid of these. Okay, boom, application, and I've already set this up. It's called inst.img. Gonna cut that out of there. Just throw it on my desktop. There it is. I'm gonna bring that back. Nope, that just brought back our setup builder, but that did not bring back our. There it is. That. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of all of these cluster files just for the sake of argument. And the idea is, the reason I'm getting rid of these off the development machine is so that we can show that it will do the download from the web. Okay, boom, those are in the recycle bin. They're nowhere near where the installer would find them. So let's run this. Okay, gonna say yes to UAC. And as you can see, I've done some weirdness with the installation, the graphics. This is not an actual Microsoft updater, for those of you who recognize that graphic. And as you can see in the lower left-hand corner, I've hidden the SetupBuilder branding text that's usually there. Normally I keep that there, but I just wanted to do something a bit different today. So we're going to next, it's going to want to default the installation directory to C:\installer-images. This setup is a collection of installer images. If you saw that, if you see the little image up here, and then you saw the one back on that welcome screen, that's what this is. So we're going to OK this. And as you can see, I've custom done everything. And if an end user wanted to custom and choose exactly what they wanted out of this, they could do so. But for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to choose the typical, which is install everything, and next. And as you can see, this starts pulling from the web. This is downloading the individual files and putting them where they need to be, where I've selected those to be. So we're going to let this do its thing. And in theory, I could do this with the iCarly fan package from the rest of the videos in this series. Now, I have not done so because, well, number one, I no longer have all those files. Number two, I figured we'd do something a bit different today. And I just so happen to have these installer images here on standby, ready to go. And so we're going to continue to wait for this to do its thing. I'm sorry I haven't been around doing SetupBuilder stuff or anything else recently. My life's been kind of chaotic and my hard drive died, but hey, I found a way to make this little short one for you guys just so I'm still breathing. So we're going to, boom, it's done. It downloaded everything, and if you're curious what the end result of that was, if we go to C, today is just not my day. C, installer images. There it all is. And I know that those are kind of hard to get a look at, but these are installer graphics that I managed to find. I don't even know if these are still available on the net, so I happen to catch them. And then here's the modern set. As you can see, those kind of look like Windows 2000 or Windows XP graphics that you'd see on a lot of the wizards. And then we have the topside graphics. So there we go. That is an overview of using iDeploy web installations to allow you to streamline your customer installs. Because, let's see here, how big is this installer that a customer would have to, oops, that's not what I wanted. How big is this customer install here that a customer would have to download? Now, if a customer was on an offline PC, you'd need to create a separate installer that has everything in it if the customer was trying to do this all offline. But it's only 206 kilobytes compared to, let's do this. Let's go back to our SetupBuilder. Go to web deployment, and I'm going to uncheck that box. And I'm going to compile this. And I'm going to see how big this installer is compared to the web install version. Okay, that is done. So let's open it. And the final output